Have you ever looked like you had it all together on the outside, but on the inside you were crumbling? That was me. For years, people saw the polished version, the one winning awards, speaking on stage, running a $1.2 million business. But what they didn't see was the knot of dread I woke up with every single morning. Today, I want to share the story of how I went from outward success to total burnout and the breakthrough that changed everything. For 13 years, I ran a Sandler training franchise, and in that world, I was one of the top franchisees. I built the business to $1.2 million in revenue. I won the David H. Sandler Lifetime Achievement Award. I was invited to speak on stage at every big event, sometimes in front of thousands of people. And I even created a mini peer group within the Sandler franchisees to help other owners stay motivated and build better habits. On the outside, I was the person everyone thought had it all together. Other franchisees, clients, even peers came to me for advice. And in many ways, I did have it together. I had the growth, I had the skill set, I built a strong team. By every measure of success, it looked like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. But inside, it was a completely different story. Every morning, I woke up with this heavy feeling of dread in the pit of my stomach. My days looked like this. Wake up at 5 a.m., squeeze in a power workout, get my kids ages 6 and 11 ready for school, head to the office to manage employees and deliver training, speak on stage, coach clients, motivate others, write speeches, and then work late into the night, sometimes until 11 p.m. And then I'd get up the next day and do it all over again. I was burned out. I was exhausted, I was frustrated, and yet I kept showing up, smiling on stage, giving advice, while secretly feeling like I was crumbling inside. Eventually, the pressure became too much. My marriage ended, which was something I never thought would be part of my story. And on top of that heartbreak, I also stepped away from the business I had poured everything into. It felt like two identities, wife and business owner, were both stripped away from me all at once. Now here's the thing, I had always felt like I was called into the Sandler business. It wasn't just a job, it was a mission for me. So when I ended it, even though it was the right choice, there was this overwhelming ache inside of me. I knew deep down that I was being called to something else, I didn't know what it was yet, and I found that incredibly frustrating. So I did what many of us do. I started a new business, hoping this was it. And on the surface, it worked. It made money. It was kind of fun, but it wasn't my calling. I just did not have the deep passion for it. So every day after a while felt like pushing a boulder uphill. And I remember thinking, why is this so hard? Why do I feel so disconnected? It wasn't just about the business, it was about me. Deep down, I had this nagging feeling that I must be sabotaging myself, but I couldn't figure out how or why. And that's when I first heard about this idea of releasing emotional patterns. Now, honestly, I wasn't even sure what that meant. But the way it was described, that everything could feel different afterwards, caught my attention. And the fact that it was based in neuroscience, well, that gave me hope. I had tried everything else. I read the books, I did the mindset tools, journaling, affirmations, meditation, but none of them were able to lift the dread. And this just sounded different. So I decided to take the chance. I flew to Austin for a 4-day immersive program. For 4 days, 9 to 5, we worked at the subconscious level, not just talking about problems, but actually pulling up the emotions and deleting those that had been running my life for years. The emotional patterns that were buried under stress, overwork, heartbreak, and self-pressure. It wasn't easy, it was intense, but it was different from anything I had ever tried before. And on the final day, during a breakthrough session, something shifted. The next morning, I woke up, and for the first time in years, I just felt different. At first, I couldn't really put my finger on it. I actually laid in bed for 10 minutes trying to figure out what was going on. Why did I feel so strange? Something was missing, but what was it? And then it hit me. The feeling that was gone, the one that had been sitting in my chest at the pit of my stomach every single morning for years, was dread. And for the first time in years, I felt light. I felt happy. I actually laughed for no reason, just because I felt free. And when I called my then boyfriend, now husband, the first thing he said was, "You sound different. You sound lighter." And later that morning at the hotel gym, another participant who hadn't done his breakthrough yet stopped me and said, "You're glowing. You seem so happy. What happened?" And then he looked at me and said, "I can't wait for my breakthrough. I want to feel the energy I feel coming from you." He could see it and he could feel it, and he wanted it for himself. And that's really when it hit me. It was never about working harder. It was never about positive thinking or forcing myself through another mindset exercise. The real change came when I cleared the emotional patterns buried in my subconscious, the ones that were silently running the show no matter how much success I had on the outside. And once those patterns were gone, the dread was gone too, and everything felt possible again. Everything changed. That experience changed the trajectory of my life. It taught me something that most high achievers never realize. Success without peace of mind isn't really success. Mindset tools can take you far, but they only scratch the surface. And if you don't clear the emotional patterns underneath, you'll always feel like you're pushing a boulder uphill. But when you do, that's when freedom begins. So if you've ever felt like you're carrying a hidden weight you can't explain, if you've tried all the strategies, all the mindset hacks, and still feel stuck, I want you to know it's not you. It's the emotional patterns running in the background. And once you clear them, everything shifts. That's the difference between living with dread and finally feeling free.